the cool things that they do live when they can be patient and have it be a 17-minute song versus the 4-minute demo, and how we like how can we merge those, without losing how succinct the messages of the demo versus how expansive the feeling of the live show is.
It is time.
The Disco Biscuits are probably one of my very, very favorite bands, definitely in the top five. And they've been saying that you're like a huge muse and you're producing their new music. And how did Cloudchord and the Disco Biscuits happen?
We want to know.
They approached me in late 2019 to help them with like some consulting for their live set. There were things that were electronic music related that they were trying to pull off, specifically like tractor beam related things, which is like their instrumental side project. So
Can you be even
they
more specific than that? You
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to.
So like in late 2019, so Tractor Beam is a side project of them that they
Right,
would do like late nights and after party, and it's basically Disco Biscuits without the microphones. That's
right.
what the way they describe it. But they wanted to take it to the next level, and so they brought me in because they wanted to do Tractor Beam every night, second set. They want to do one Tractor Beam segment, which is 20 to 30 minutes. So it's significant. It's not just like 2 minutes of music or
Oh, yeah.
whatever. And they were actually wanting to recreate epic. Here's the interesting thing. Epic like live sets from DJs. So an example was like a portion of a Carl Cox DJ set from Miami Ultra 2 years ago. And they were like, we want to be able to, as a band, perform this set from this time marker to this time marker because we really love that music and we think that it would translate to what we do. So basically, I would go into this Carl Cox set and I would say, okay, if you guys want to recreate this part of the DJ set, here's what you need to do. Here's how you get the sound, et cetera, et cetera. And so I would help them map that out. So I helped them like with their New Year's run 2019, which is in New
I was
York. I
there.
think was cool. Yeah, they did Tractor Beam every night. And I was there for 2 or 3 of the nights.
Oh, cool.
And then like COVID happened, but we all stayed, in touch. And then last summer I went and hung out with them and jammed, and it kind of just seemed like the next step was me to help them produce new music because they hadn't really released new music in like 10 years aside from
Right.
board tapes. So it's all, none of it has been like immediate. It's all just kind of been like one foot in front of the other. And really by like the end of last year, the beginning of this year, when we had like finished tunes, they were like, okay, you're our producer, let's go. So
Um,
that's
have,
where we are.
have you ever worked with another organization in that capacity?
Yes, definitely not particularly a band like this per se, but I've definitely been a producer for other entities or other brands. Like I actually did a project with Disney a few years ago where I did like 5 songs for Disney, to where it's like
Wow.
an ongoing thing with a bigger organization that has a lot of moving parts, where they're relying on you to be creative, but also like highly responsible.
Right.
you know
Right.
and that like the tune needs to be done on October 7th or whatever, you know what I
Right.
mean?
So, was it a thing where you were in the room while they were creating and was just another voice of, something to bounce something off of? Or did you bring songs to the table and, bounced it off of them? Or how did like these songs
Right.
come to be?
I'm more of like a filter. I don't necessarily bring songs to the table as much as help them get from point A to point B on their own creations, you know? And so, like, we did the first three singles that we did, which were Lakeshore Drive and Evolve and M1. I was kind of there from the ground up of the writing of like the first parts, you know? But Taurus and like Who's in Charge, Twist in the Road, and Taurus, and then the upcoming ones. It's interesting because it's changed a little bit, and that we now have a lyricist in the camp named Joey Friedman, and he is helping Magner and Barber like co-write these tunes. So when it gets to me, they're actually like songs with form, with hooks, with all that, and I'm kind of helping shape the whole thing, which significantly speeds up the whole process, you know, because like the tune's already there. You know, it's like I'm walking out to the beach with a pail and you know a shovel, and it's like all right there. So
do they send you like the stems in software and then you like manipulate it in your own software and then send it back to them for their feedback?
yeah, it's a lot like that. But the stuff that we're working on now, it was literally like all of us in the studio together because the tunes were written. So I was there with them, like recording everything, and we're kind of referencing what the demo is versus how they play it live versus how we want the release. That's really the cosmic dance with those guys, and that's probably like the biggest creative decision to make on a regular basis with them is like the cool things that they do live when they can be patient and have it be a 17-minute song versus the 4-minute demo, and how we like how can we merge those, you know, without losing how succinct the messages of the demo versus how expansive the feeling of the live show is, you know.
Right, and I think that that's like a thing with jam bands because you'll listen to, you know, a 3.5 minute album track and you're like, oh, they're just gonna jam it out. Believe me, they're gonna kill it. But like that's like, but, exactly. But that process of, oh, they're just gonna jam it out. It's like when you're at that level, it can't just be like figure it out. You need to like have some kind of, you know, structure, system, experience, you know, to be able to night after night do it. And they're going to be coming to the Norva on October 29th, and that's where I'll be able to see undoubtedly at least one or two songs that you helped write. They're going to probably throw that in the set. And so we're so excited to be listening to the Disco Biscuits. This is their new single that was released September 15th, 2022. We're listening to Tourists on Galaxy Jams Reacts. I'm glad you kept the acoustic drums, you know, like those little Allen fill things just now.
Yep. Yeah.
Sounds almost like Goa trancey.
I love that bass line.
That's a cool effect on his vocals.
Dissonancy harmonies, that's cool.
It's an earworm.
This is just going to be a banger live.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Like,
what it's like to listen to this live. This is good.
It is so cool. So Cloudchord, like when they brought you the Ross version of this, what types? Like, can you give us a couple, like one or two examples of something you suggested and they added to it?
Yeah, interesting thing is that like live, Barber's guitar drives so much of the energy so regularly, right?
Right.
I think that's something we can all agree on, right? And he rarely has guitar in the demos. It's almost all just like beats, vocals, and synths. And because he's like trying to think of it like more of like a pop electronic thing, and then knowing that eventually we'll merge the two,
Right.
So it's always like I feel like, not to float my own boat or anything, but like I feel like it's one of the things that I am really comfortable with these guys is like picking out the dopest guitar parts for these, because like he's such a stream of consciousness player, and that is like his forte, is that he can go for 29 minutes and not repeat himself and have it just tell this flowing story. And I can do that too, but I am such a producer that I'm such like a part bass player where I'm like, what's the part, motherfucker? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
I like kind of go through all of his stuff. And so, for example, on this tune, none of those guitars that you hear were in the demo. And he just sent me some stuff, and I picked out what I felt like the hottest lines were. And then there are cases where I played like an octave lower, or I did a harmony to just make it like really tight and catchy,
Oh wow, that's cool.
Thanks for that insight.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
And even then, the guitar is kind of in the back of the mix. It's really vocally driven.
100%, yeah.
Oh, that was nice.
I like that switch up.
There's a bit of controversy about the part, which I'll tell you afterwards.
The high part?
About this section in general.
I like how the vocals just got so distorted until like right when he said that, it was like, what? And then jumped back into the clean.
Right.
Ooh,
very
that's a nice
cool.
ending.
Very cool.
I just got a VR headset, and all this song made me think of was like the future. Like I felt, because like the lyrics, and I feel like right when I'm putting on the headset, it's like I'm launching into this like tourist rocket ship world.
Speaking of which, it'd be really cool to listen to a Disco Biscuits concert in VR. I think that'd be awesome.
We listen to do anything in VR. It's cool. Even just
Yeah,
folding
right.
my laundry in VR is cool. We're circling back. Tell us the juicy details
Yeah,
about the
this
end of the song.
controversy, yeah.
Give it to
Yeah,
us.
so the controversy is during that section. I am somebody, even though I'm a guitar player, I am ambivalent on whether songs have guitar solos or not because it's just about the tune. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, you have to serve the song wherever
Yeah,
that
and
goes.
yeah, exactly. And that's been like a constant dialogue with me with those guys is, like we don't need a guitar solo in this song. Just because you have it live, like that doesn't mean this version has to have that. And that section where the solo is without the guitar solo is one of my favorite sections of music that we've made so far because it's just tight and it's funky and like they kept calling it like it's very Chromeo-esque and it's like
Right.
it's a new chord progression and it's tight. It's like Chic meets Chromeo and it's like a real bullseye, right? And it totally did not need a guitar solo at all. It could have absolutely been just this clean palette of just minimal funk and it would have been received very well.
Yeah.
You know-
However, here's the controversy. And again, go back to what I was saying. I am the first one to say we don't need a guitar solo, even though I take guitar solos. Because guitar solos, there's always another solo, right? There's always another time, especially when you're a gigging band. Barber sent me the solo, and that whole solo was one take, no edits, stream
Wow.
of consciousness. And I did not have to there was one note that I quantized, like I tucked it a little bit forward or back, just whatever. It was kind of subjective. All the phrasing, that was not a comp solo. That was just one. Comp means like composite of
Yeah.
like
Right.
various
Right.
takes, right? That was one single take. And I was like, we have to use this because you just fucking knocked it out of the park, bro. And it brings tears to my eyes. So I am rooting for the guitar solo. So that was the controversy of it because everybody was like, it doesn't need the solo, but the solo's awesome. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I think that when I listen to this, it doesn't sound like an American Jamtronica band from the Northeast. And so
Right.
and so there's so many bands that are doing that, and I feel like other like bands are kind of getting a clue where they're trying to move towards like it's not 2009 anymore, so they're trying to like move towards something different. I feel like Lotus is doing kind of the same thing where they're sort of going in a more like European electro not as acoustic type of thing, right? And like I feel like there's merit to that because the Disco Biscuits have been playing for so long, they've been delivering the same products, and there's always like a kind of like tug and war between doing what you want to do and doing what you have to do.
Right.
And like there's so many people that's like, oh, like I want to hear another hot air balloon for the rest of my life, right? But like as the guys that play that every single night, that's maybe not what they want to do. And so it's really great that they're taking that step towards doing what they want to do, and hopefully the people can see the creativity, and even if they vibe or whatever it is, it's just the beauty of putting out what you want, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you satisfied, and that's what's like the whole point, right?
100%.
Well, I think also when you get to a certain point, you want to expand what you're doing and change it up, and I think all it takes is for your fans to just listen to it and just keep listening to it, and they'll get it, and ping ponging back to Radiohead is kind of the same thing with them. Is that they come out with a new album. Sometimes I'm a huge fan. I don't even like it and don't understand what's going on. But then I listen to it 2 or 3 times and like, oh wait, I get it now.
Well, because there are things about it that, because when I was listening to it,
Right.
I was listening to the things that make me really like the Disco
Right,
Biscuits,
yeah.
which is like Barber's distinctive voice, you know, the way that like Magner and like Alan's like signature drum ticks, right? And it's like you intentionally left that in there, like you gave artifacts for, you know, older
Right.
Biscuit fans
Yeah.
to be like, oh, like this is the Disco Biscuits, but you know, you guys are going in a new direction, and there's nothing wrong with going in any direction because at least they're doing stuff.
And it's still
Right.
them, so it's still going to have what you've liked about
Loved
them
about it,
and their playing ability, you know?
And then also strategically leaving room for the live show, which is something that, you know, a lot of jam band do with their albums anyway, right? Is they come out with
Right.
like a 4.5 minute diddly and then they make it like 35 minutes live.
Yeah.
And that's like
Right.
that's the whole game anyway.
They lose you in your consciousness, and all of a sudden you realize they're still playing the same song.
Yeah. Hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.